Booked. I am back and ready to talk about books. So, sorry I have not filmed anything lately, but Thanksgiving, family visiting, and then I was rooming with my grandmother was rooming with me. And it's kind of hard to film with her here because then I have to explain things about what I was doing, and then she likes watching Fox News. It's like her favorite, news station. And then there are times, because there were like five little ones here at my house. She didn't want to, in fact, my mom was saying last night how it was kind of nice that she could come up here and get away from all that chaos. And so it was just, so unfortunately I couldn't film anything, and I did not, and as always, I do not know how to vlog videos. I mean, I would love to, but I would need someone to go over with me and show me how to do it. And then, while I was trying to do it with me, work with me on it, so that I can figure it out. And if I have questions and stuff like that, my cousin Josh, I really wish my cousin Josh was like close by, because he's good with that kind of stuff. But anyway, so by the way, as you can see, my hair, I finally cut it, I got it cut on Tuesday. I have been dying to get it cut. It just feels so great to have it short again. And I have to remember, I want to keep it this short, because this is the best I can handle. Sometimes I always see women like my sister with longer hair, and I get very jealous and wish my hair was like that. But then once I let it grow out, I can't manage it. It looks like crap, and because it's so thick, having it thick is both a blessing and a curse. I feel like, because it's all lush and thick, and I have a lot of hair, and I know that people have thinner hair, wish they had thicker hair, and I understand, I get it. Like I say, it's a blessing, but again, it's also a curse, because then your hair tends to do what it wants, and it's hard to tame it, and you have to style it. I'm not good with styling my hair. So, this is the easiest thing for me to do, with the exception of the pixie cut, which I've done before, twice. But I don't know if I want to go that short. I like having a little long, somewhat long. So, anyway, let's get on to the book. So I was going to go to the library today, but then I get there and I see on the door that the library will be closed until the 2nd. Because tomorrow's the 1st, and they're closed on Sundays anyway. Like, everything in this part of this community is closed on store-wise, closed on a Sunday. So I will have to go on Monday, but I work tomorrow anyway. So I will go on Monday, because I'm off on Monday. And I think that's all I'll probably do, just go to the library on Monday. Because, it might have been smarter to go to do the whole library bookstore thing on Monday, because it was very crowded today. But, I ended up making a purchase today, and I realized I'm out of ones now. I have a little, maybe a few dollars left in somewhere else. But so I guess I'll have to start waiting for tips again. Hopefully I'll get some tips from people asking me to put their groceries away. But put them in their car, So I ended up not going to the library. I got all the way there, and I was trying to use a smaller tote bag that the said grandmother gave me that I hadn't used yet because of its medium-sized tote bag. It's actually, I can show it to you. It's this tote bag, which is really cute, and it's very 70-esque style tote bag, but it's small, and I have 9 books. So it's kind of hard, so I end up having to bring my backpack with me. So it's just easier for me to bring a backpack with me, because then I can zip it up. The dangers of the backpack, though, is it's still, because it's 9 books, it still can be, pretty risky, because, it could be bad on my back. Because, when I get old, I might have a bad back, and I'll be like those older people that are hunched over, and that's the last thing I want. Now I think I said, and I already said this in a video once before, that now I'm more aware of it because I see, older people all the time at work who are hunched over like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, my mom and my grandma always said I need to stand up straight. So now but but as I also said this in that video, but it's kind of hard if you have always been in a habit of slumping, of like sitting hunched over. And carrying like a backpack full of a bunch of books that are hardback is not good for posture. So, but this book, this is kind of small. I was gonna bring, like, when I was thinking about when I would finally go, I was thinking, oh, I'll bring my Francesca tote bag. It's a little boutique type store with a lot of cute stuff. And because I think that was a little bit bigger. I was gonna bring that one, but then I remembered, well, my grandma's here and I haven't used this bag yet, and I should show her that I'm using it. Sometime. But if I only had a few books, like maybe 3 books, then yeah, I would use this. But whenever I go to the library, I never bring just 3 books. I never brought just 3 books. But anyway, some of the books that I decided to return are 2 books that I've decided to DNF. And that is The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeca. I think I'm saying it. I remember hearing about this or seeing this on BookTube. And it's just not, I think I already talked about that I was debating about DNFing this, and I think I am going to, because it's very slow moving, very much more tell than show, and a lot more spending, and I've read in reviews on Goodreads that there's not a lot of raising the dead, it's more like training and stuff. I mean, and if you have a cool power like being able to raise the dead, I think a lot of people would want to see a lot more of that. I may not be the biggest fan of zombies. Like, I will probably never watch Walking Dead, no matter how many times Larissa recommends it to me. Because, I know it's about these people's lives, and that the zombies are just, it's just the extra fantastical element. But I'm just not a big fan of the ideas of zombies. I mean, I've only watched a few zombie-esque related, the 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later movies franchise. I watched that one, and actually the second movie made me cry, because I realized the kids lost both their, because, spoiler alert, the kids lost both their parents in that movie to the disease, and I guess they technically weren't really zombies, although I think that Daniel Green would say, no, they're actually zombies. You can say whatever, it's genetics or science or whatever, they're not actually zombies, they have a disease or whatever, but they're zombies. And, and then I like Warm Bodies, but, as a cute little movie, I'll watch that whenever it's, it's on night, because I like the actor that played the zombie character in that movie. But I'm just not a fan, but I do think the concept of necromancy is really cool. But this book is just, it's very slow moving. It's, very info dumpy. And it has a bit of a love triangle in it, and there's one of the things that just really I've come to be bothered by in books is the girl hate. Whenever they have a competition type element where girls are competing for something, even if it's not an actual competition, it's not a set competition, but it's there is competitiveness, then it just kind of bugs me after a while, because it's really, you could save each other a whole lot of trouble if you just try to work together and try to be friends. And I'm not saying our main character has to be friends with every girl that she meets, but just I want the important female relationships to be girls that are friends, not just friends that are not just the girls that she occasionally makes friends with, but is barely in the story, or not just the woman who's the mentor figure or whatever. I want her to actually have a friend that's an actual friend. And then like and then well, for as far as the love triangle goes, it's not really that. To be fair, it's not as it hasn't been as prominent, but I knew it was coming because I mean, especially since there's a lot of present day. It goes back and forth between how our main character Tia became the character, became the Bone Witch, and she's narrating to this chronicler or this bard or whatever, and she implies, and the bard asks her about these two guys that she says like she's only loved two guys in her life. So the book implies, okay, there's gonna be a love triangle. And to be fair, even if you don't like love triangles, I wouldn't say you should totally dismiss this because it does. If that's the reason why you're dismissing the book, then if that's the only reason you might, agree with me and dismiss the book, it's because then I don't think it's a fair reason because it's not it's not in throughout the book. I mean, it hasn't really even come up yet. I mean, she's just met the guys that I think are going to be the ones in the love triangle, the two guys that she's caught between. But, and I don't know if this is what everybody else is thinking, but it's like, okay, I'm an average girl. I'm nice. I'm sweet. I'm feeling like I'm pretty and I'm pretty, I'm average, I'm insecure, so where are my two guys that are going to tell me, oh, you're actually so awesome and beautiful and you have a great destiny and all that? Where's mine? Where are my two guys? Why don't I have two guys fighting over me? I mean, I'm no different than the rest of the girls in these novels. But, except for unless we're talking fantasy, I don't have magical powers or anything. But, yeah, it's just, I mean, and I think I already shared my reasons why. These are basically the same reasons I already said why I'm DNFing. Nothing has really changed. It's just that I officially decided I'm going to DNF it. So I was going to take it back to the library today, but then I found it was closed. And one of the other books I'm taking to the library, I've decided to, walk away from Normal People. And maybe because so much is going on that, it was Thanksgiving weekend, so it was probably not the best time to read a book like this. But I'm gonna send Normal People back to the library. Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I kind of feel guilty for doing that because it's like I want to say that I will read a book like this that's a little more like considered literary or like a book on a war that was nominated for an award or whatever, but I couldn't get into it. And I was reading some reviews about it, and I was reading so I found out from that last spring or whatever. I actually found out I had come to realize that one of my sister's other friends, not the one that was here with us for Thanksgiving, but one of her other friends who was also a mom. All of her friends are all moms. I'm the one who, has all the friends me and my friends, we're not moms. Although I think Larissa wants to be a mom. I don't know about Therese. I think Therese would be a good mom though, if she became a mom. But anyway, yeah, so me and my friends, we're not moms, but my sister and all of her friends decided to become moms. So I found out that she likes reading too. She's very interested in reading, and so I was reading her review, and she did end up reading the whole book. She didn't DNF it. But her reasoning is kind of why I'm not sure about it. It's just raining. First of all, and I know, like, the book is trying to be clever and artistic and more, have a unique prose and all that, but I just cannot get past. I mean, and I think this is also considered stream of consciousness. The stream of consciousness writing stuff, I just cannot get into it. I've tried quite a few times, I just can't get into it. And I think the only reason why I enjoyed Autumn was because I was getting so caught up in the booktubers that I was really into at the time, that I really liked watching how much they loved the book, which I still watch because I still love those channels. But they were talking about how great, and Autumn and Allie Smith were, and I was thinking, and I was saying, oh, I love it, and, but I've come to realize it was good, it was interesting, but at that time, it was just, maybe it was right time and place, and there weren't as many distractions, so I liked it, but at the end of the day, I was not going to read it again, and I tried to read her next book, and that is The Seasonal Quartet. I think she's going to finish it this spring, or spring just came out. I can't remember, but yeah, so it's 4 books covering each of the seasons, and it's written in stream of consciousness. But then again, I liked Dostoevsky. His Notes from the Underground was kind of a stream of consciousness formula, and I liked that one. But I don't know, maybe it had to do with, I really like the idea of Russian literature and these stories about Russia in the past. Or maybe the character, maybe I liked the character, I was more interested in that particular character, I don't know, but just like with short stories, I feel like I have a very rocky relationship with the stream of consciousness prose. And I think that's what this would be considered. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but, and it's basically about a relationship of these two people that are constantly circling each other. They're constantly, they're friends with benefits. They have a friends with benefits mentality. But because they're part of 2 different worlds, she was in high school, he's the popular guy, everyone loves him, he's so cool and everything, and she's kind of the outcast at the school, and people always are talking about her, they don't think she's that pretty, but the 2 of them are a couple, and they really connect, but then they end up both going to the same college, and then, and this is due to the description on the flap, on the dust jacket flap, that their roles are reversed in college, where she's the popular, she's the well-liked one, everybody loves her, and he's the one who's kind of the outcast. It's about their relationship and how they're constantly circling each other and they love each other, but they both can't really be together publicly because they worry about what people think, and they're like, oh, you shouldn't be together because you're from 2 different worlds. And they just go through different relationships, and they have, it's just basically a story about the relationship, about how they have this bond, this connection, but then at the same time, they don't want to fully connect because of, they care too much about what everyone else thinks. And I just maybe just the wrong time, maybe there's just too much distractions, and maybe I could just keep going with it, because I do, thanks to Goodreads, I do know what page I left off on, and I can just get back into it, but I don't know, I'm not excited to read it, and I just find it kind of boring, in all honesty. I'm not as engaged with the plot, and then, with contemporary drama type fiction, I have to be in the right mood to read it, and then there's this, and what goes along with stream consciousness is apparently lack of punctuation, and I know, like I said, the writers are clever and write unique prose and more literary prose, and it's I just cannot get past the lack of punctuation. I don't ever know when someone's actually talking and who's talking. It's very confusing, and it's hard to follow along with the story. But, so I'm DNFing this one as well, so that one's going to go back to the library on Monday. I'm keeping I kept going back and forth about, the Tolstoy short novels of Tolstoy. But I think I'm going to keep going with it, and I can skip one of these. I can skip The Death of Ivan Ilyich, because I actually have that one in a separate paperback. So I can skip that one. So really I only have 7 of these to read. To Hussars, which I'm reading right now. I did start reading Family Happiness, The Cassocks, A Tale of 1852, Balishka, The Devil, Master and Man, Hajid Murad. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly or not, but I can read those. And then The Sisters of the Winter Wood. I can read that one. I did start reading. This is the only bad thing about these bookmarks is that I always end up pulling out when I send another book, the other book kind of drags in and pulls out the bookmark. But I did start reading Gulliver's Travels. Now, this is the book that we were supposed to read in my British literature class that I took a couple years ago. But again, we spent so much time on Canterbury Tales. I'm like, I don't care. In fact, I made the mistake of skipping one of the stories, and skipping that one. The next day that ended up being the one we were given a quiz on. So that was a big mistake that I regretted. But it was only one little quiz, so it wasn't the end of the world. And I still passed the class and did I still got an A, I think, A or B in that class. But and then basically when I was excited about Hamlet, but we were only had a few weeks left, so we didn't even get to Gulliver's Travels. And when we were working on Hamlet, we ended up having to read it on our own, and we didn't even talk about it as a class. We watched the movie, which I think is good, but the downside of that is no one in the class would shut up. No one else cared. There were only 3 people in the class that I think would actually genuinely care and were interested in watching it. And I tried to make friends with both those girls because they seem more like my kind of people. But one of them was just she didn't even put in I tried to make friends with her, but then she seemed more like the type that's you're kind of intellectually academic snobbishness. And then the other girl, it was almost the end of the semester anyway, but she seemed cool, and I tried to, make friends with her, but I'm not good at just randomly talking to people and starting a conversation and stuff, and like I said, it was almost the end of the semester anyway, so it was kind of too late, but she's someone that I could have had a future with her as a friend. But I made some mistakes. It's like fate. I screwed up. But, like I said, we didn't even get to this one. But I wanted to read it, especially because I did see the Jack Black movie, and I know a lot of people say it sucks, it's not great, it's not accurate to the book at all. And I know that there was a mini-series made with Robert Salmi. I can't say that guy's name. He's a guy who makes a lot of epic fantasy mini-series, like he did The 10th Kingdom. That is one of my favorites. He did the Alice in Wonderland miniseries. That was a lot closer to the original book. The one that came out in the 90s. And he did a Gulliver's Travels one. So, and I think he also tries to do like fantasy and literary type. That's his shtick. He likes to try to do literary and fantasy stories when he creates. Although I think by now he's probably died, but or just is just really, really old. I'm just nervous though because I'm worried that I'm not gonna like it. I'm worried I'm gonna be bored. But but I definitely want to read. As you can see, I just read the first couple pages. Literally only a couple pages. There was the whole introduction section. But I read up to page 21, and that as far as and I mean that as in when the pages start. The page, because how they always have the introduction and stuff like that, and they'll put the Roman numerals. They won't actually put page numbers. So there's that one. And then the other library books are, so as you guys know, I decided to, I only read the first few short stories in Dickens. I just think I prefer Dickens' novels over his short stories. It feels like it's like there were bits and slice of life stories about these moments in a lot of these people's lives, but there wasn't a lot going on. It wasn't enough. I just prefer his novels. So that's going back to. So as far as the ones that I am keeping, so those three are going back. Along with the only one of the ones that are going back that I'm actually keeping. That I'm actually, as far as the only one that I actually read and finished that is going back, that I'm returning to on Monday, is book 4, Neverseen, the book 4 of the Lost Keeper series. And I really can't say much about this in a review because, well, that's why I don't review series, because unless I'm gonna review each book, and there are times when I forget to do it. So it's, I gotta. It's something like you gotta start the habit of it. But I'd love to see this as this would be such a great cartoon, especially like if the characters look like this. But anyway, so I will just tell you in case you have not heard, or if you have forgotten, this is a series about. It's very Harry Potter-esque. I feel like it's more Harry Potter-esque than like the Morgan Crow series. You have our main character Sophie. In the first book, she starts as a 12-year-old, although according to this book, it is revealed that the elves age differently. So actually, she thinks she's 13 in this book, but then she realizes that she's actually 14 in the book. So that's the only spoiler you're gonna get is that, and that's really, I feel like that's not that big of a deal. Although to her it is, especially because of her relationship with the boys in the story. But Sophie is this girl that she is kind of different amongst her friends and family. She has a very good relationship with her parents and her little sister, although she's the typical relationship with her sister where they don't get along that often. They don't always get along. And but she's different because she has telepathic abilities. And no one knows why. So it's something that she struggles with, makes her seem different, and she's constantly hearing voices in her head, like, to the point where she has to listen to headphones to tune everybody out. And of course, the teacher's just thinking, oh, she's just listening to music. They don't realize that she's using because she can constantly hear voices in her head. Like, she's not paying attention, she's listening to music or something. Although I wouldn't be listening to music, I'd be listening to an audiobook if I had headphones. But, actually, I wonder if I can get away with that. Sometimes I wonder if I could actually, if I did choose that, could I? Not that I would, but I'm not gonna, I wonder if I could get away with that at work, though, without them noticing, because, especially if I'm using, like, an iPod, if I, like, use an iPod. I hope none of my coworkers are watching this, because I don't want them to think that, oh, she'll try to get away with that, because at the end of the day, I'm a good person, I'm a rule follower type person. But, so then during a field trip at school, this boy she sees this boy and realizes that he is a little bit interesting himself. And he recognizes her. He suddenly recognizes her and catches up with her and tells her that she's actually an elf. And that's where her telepathic abilities come from. And on top of that, she's a genetically engineered elf. She was created by this group of rebels that have gone against the government, known as the Black Swan. and she has like 4. We learn throughout the series that she actually has 4 abilities, not just telepathy. And the first 2 books are basically about her learning about the world. She ends up going to school in that world. She gets adopted because, unfortunately, since she's from this world, she has to leave her family behind. And she's taken in by. At first she is taken in by the family of the boy that found her. The boy's name is Fitz, and she immediately develops a crush on Fitz, and kind of becomes part of this family. But then another family decides to adopt her. And this particular couple, their daughter died in an accident where she got burned. So this couple, because elves cannot deal with grief as easily as humans can, they can't cope. They really struggle with it. So this particular couple had isolated themselves from everybody, and because elves don't deal with grief that often, people were constantly judging this couple. But they basically own a. Sorry, I'm just really bad at. I am still very bad at giving summaries. I am better when I have to write them down like on Goodreads or something, so I have more time to like think it through and process my thoughts. But she is essentially this couple kind of owns a reservation. They live on a reservation where they take the animals of this world and protect them and hold them, and raise them, take care of them, and help them adapt to the world, and to eventually where they'll be healthy enough to go out in the world. But Sophie eventually she realized that she is caught in the middle of this war between the Black Swan and the government of this world. But in this book, we also finally get to meet the true villains, who are another group who call themselves the Neverseen, and they're more an extremist group, while the Black Swan is a little less extreme. And which I feel like the Black Swan and the Neverseen have similar goals, but they have different approaches to their goals. Because both groups do not like how the government of their world does not do things, and then they just ignore everything. But I think the Black Swan is willing to let this government exist and not totally get rid of them, like the Neverseen wants to get rid of them. This is such a fun. I don't think it's gonna be I don't agree that it's I don't think it's the next Harry Potter, but I do think it has Harry Potter feels to it. Like a chosen the main character is like this chosen one, and they're caught in the middle of a war. So I like Sophie's character, but she is again such an incredibly frustrating character, and it does have that relationship drama. But I think because it has started as more of a middle grade, which is technically what Harry Potter did, it's not as the relationship drama is in there, but I feel like it focuses more on Sophie's, what she has to do, her destiny, her role in this world, and how she has to, help, help the government in these 2 groups, the Neverseen and the Black Swan. And this one actually has one of my favorite tropes, the mentor-mentee relationships. Sophie actually kind of ends up getting to finally have a relationship with the man who kind of protected her and was kind of her guardian, when she was in the human world. Well, that's another thing that this series in Harry Potter has in common. The protagonist, for the longest time, up until a certain age, was raised in our world, so they didn't know the world of magic and these magical worlds existed. But like I said, there is some relationship drama, so of course, inevitably, we have the whole team. You're either Team Fitz or Team Dex or Team Keith. And for a while, I was more Team Dex because I feel like if Sophie and Fitz ended up together, it would be predictable. Like, oh, of course she ends up with that guy. Conveniently, she ends up with the guy who has a crush on her. It's like, she finally tells him, and then it turns out, oh, I have a crush on you too, and she ends up choosing him. It was like, really, why does he have to be the end game? It's so predictable. People always guys like Fitz are always the end game. But I'm starting to understand why people don't like Dex, but I feel like the hate Dex gets is unfair. Especially because, even with what he did in book 3, I believe, is the reason why people hate his actions in book 3. But he did not commit those actions on purpose. He didn't know any better, and yeah, it was stupid on his part. But he didn't unconsciously do it. He just got, his pride got the best of him, and I think his jealousy got the best of him. And he screwed up and made a big mistake, which had big consequences. But I feel like as fans, we get so passionate that we have a hard time forgiving these characters when they make stupid mistakes. And of course, I think everybody has their limits to how far we can forgive a person, how far we're willing to forgive, before they cross the line. I mean, everybody has their limits. And now I'm more Team Keith, but I am ideally more towards Team Keith. And I love Keith. He's so fun and funny, and he definitely plays a bigger role in this book. I mean, he started to play a pretty big role in book 2, but I think his role really became more than just the guy who wanted to help Sophie. One of the many guys that wanted to help Sophie. He plays I feel like he plays an important, he has become very important in this 4th book. And he did, by the end of the book, all I'm gonna say is he does something that I think is monumentally stupid on his part, like, something that I'm like, he automatically assuming he has to do this, that this is just how it has to be, and I'm bad, and this is how because I'm bad, I must do this, and it's like, oh my god, no, just because someone tells you something does not mean you have to agree with it. That does not mean you have to, and I'm trying to be very careful with what I say, because I don't want to spoil anything. But his actions by the end of the book, it's like, oh my god, seriously, why? Why did you have to do this, you stupid, stupid idiot? Like, it's definitely very, in my opinion, monumentally stupid on his part. And it makes him look bad. It's like, I mean, I guess it was his turn to do something stupid. Because, like I said, I will admit, what Dex did was pretty stupid too. But it's forgivable. But no, like, it's like, why, Dex? I mean, why, Keith? Why? Why did you have to do that? I mean, when it comes to in these kinds of books, whether it's YA, I mean, mostly YA, or adult, or middle grade, when your characters do something and play the martyr or do something stupid, it's like, stop doing that. Why are you doing that? But I can't wait to start book 5, which is I think it's the Lodestars called book. Yeah, Lodestars book 5, and then Nightfall, and then I think another book of hers just came out. So, I'm gonna read I'm gonna get Lodestar on Monday. So that's a book I'm definitely checking out on Monday. So these 4 books are going back. Okay, so let's talk about those I'm currently reading. Okay, so let's see. So I've been focusing mostly on this book because I am almost done with it. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And as other people put it, this is what I would call a domestic thriller, and probably one of the few thrillers I would ever read. I think it helps that it's a classic. It's an oldie but a goodie. And it's historical. But we have our main character who's American, and she is visiting in France, and she is trained to be a companion to this elderly woman, Miss Van Hopper. And while she's in France, in Monte Carlo, she runs in her and Miss Van Hopper, who's Miss Social, was nosy into everybody's business, knows everything about everybody. They meet the infamous Mr. Maxim De Winter, who owns Manderley, and he's, his wife is known to have died at sea. And Miss Van Hopper is immediately like, I want to know this guy, let's talk to him, let's get to know him. And he's very standoffish. He doesn't want to talk to Miss Van Hopper, he doesn't want to socialize with her, but he is polite. And he immediately is drawn to our main character and is taken with her, and she has developed this obsessive crush on the guy, and they start spending time, and then eventually they decide, when she has come to realize what the rest of her life will be like with Miss Van Hopper, and after that she runs to him and he offers her marriage. So they get married and go to Manderley. But when she gets to Manderley, she realizes that everybody loved Rebecca, and she cannot compare to Rebecca. Our main character is constantly being like, Rebecca would do it this way, or Rebecca used to do it that way, or, oh, well, that's not how Rebecca would do it, or Rebecca was so beautiful, everybody loved Rebecca. And it kind of makes her, and our main character is already insecure enough as it is. And it's even worse because the housekeeper, Miss Danvers, was just like everybody else, loved Rebecca, was obsessed with Rebecca, and has basically decided to make our main character's life a living hell, because it's like, she is obsessed with Rebecca and feels like that this our main character is trying to take Rebecca's place. So it's basically all about her dealing with that, trying to compete with her, the first Miss De Winter, and realize that she can't. And it's that struggle and that fear, that insecurity. Kind of so many moments. Like, I feel like the problem in this is that, not the problem with the book, but the problem with this situation is that it's like the chicken, which came first, the chicken or the egg? In this case, whose fault is it? Is it Maxim's fault, or is it our main character's insecurity and her issues? Like, if she was more confident and not as shy, and didn't let her insecurities get the best of her, then maybe Maxim wouldn't, ignore her, would help her out, and he would love her. But then, his wife Rebecca died, and he's also very standoffish. Like, he'll do what needs to be done to socialize and be helpful to his community. But then he's not really helping our main character. We don't know her name, by the way. And I think a lot of people were saying that the reason why it's good that we don't know her name is because, in a way, it's like she's not important. Like, she's not worthy of being as good as Rebecca, so she's not worthy to be named. Not that, in that maybe she's trying to become Rebecca, or that's what everybody fears, that she's going to replace Rebecca, which is what Miss Danvers fears. And like, maybe that's why the narrator why she's not, our main character is not named. But there are so many, like she accidentally breaks a vase in the morning room. It was Rebecca's space, so she freaks out, and the only way she can think to handle this is by she decides not to tell anyone and take the pieces of the vase and put it in an envelope and hide it in the drawer. And in the process of doing that, when Miss Danvers finds out, she is like, I believe it's Robert's fault. He's the one who broke the vase. And out of guilt, eventually she tells Maxim, who does not understand why she didn't say anything to Miss Danvers. She's like, and it's like a very childish, immature reaction, but then I'm like, at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, this woman has not been really as giving her the stink eye, basically making her feel like she will never be good enough, and she will not be worthy to be in Rebecca's shoes and live in her house, so, and she is young. I mean, Maxim is not right about that, and I think that's one of the problems that Maxim realizes eventually, is that his bride, his new wife, is so young. I mean, she's 21, 22, or what. She really is a child, at least compared to him. But then at the same time, he's not really helping the situation. He's not doing anything. He's not spending time with her. He's not reassuring her, or he tries to. But then it's like, oh, don't worry, and he just dismisses it. And it's like, yeah, he'll tell her, well, no, you're being silly. But then he doesn't really take the time to be like, don't worry, Ar, you are worthy and you are special to me, and whether he loves her or not, I feel like he should reassure her. He needs to comfort her and be like, and support her and be like, you are special. I chose you. I like you. But then the problem is he's, a lot of these people who are more like, they don't have an actual job, but their job is taking care of their household and doing whatever they need to do for the community. Although I think he's a clerk or something, but he's focusing more on, now that he's home at Mandel, he's focused more on work. And then there's the whole awkward situation with the cousin showing up, and Rebecca's cousin showing up, and he's charming, and he's like this, charming, laid back kind of guy. He's social and everything, but then Maxim did not want the guy to be here, and Miss Danvers like, don't tell, like he's strictly not supposed to be here kind of response, and she doesn't, but she does. I think she does tell Beatrice about it because she's very concerned. I'm pretty sure that Beatrice is the one that told Maxim. But of course, Miss Danvers assumes that our main character was the one who told about Rebecca's cousin being there when he shouldn't have been there. But I hate Miss Danvers so much. I want to smack her. She's so selfish and so like, no one can compare to my precious Rebecca. You can't compare it. Like, see, people are such like they do not realize them talking about how great Rebecca, how much they loved Rebecca, how perfect she was, and how this young thing could never compare to Rebecca. And it's like, these people are such douchebags, and I just want to be like, how dare you? Yes, I get Rebecca was awesome and great and beautiful and glamorous and everything, but you know what? Rebecca is dead. She's not coming back. Okay? And what? This guy's not allowed to move on? I mean, like, how dare you? Well, even if Maxim is a douchebag and a horrible human being, our main character does not deserve that. She's naive, she's young, she just wants to be loved and treated like an equal and respected and have someone kind, and maybe what she has with Maxim isn't real love, but still she is not trying to replace Rebecca. She is not trying to replace her. She just happened to have fallen for Maxim, and maybe she doesn't really love him, but still she cares about him, she likes him, she wants to be with him. It's not her fault. I mean, maybe she's naive, maybe she needs to get a little bit of a reality check here, but I just can't stand these people and how they treat her. Like, even now, Beatrice is a little bit better. Max's sister Beatrice is a little bit better than everybody else. And I guess Frank is trying too, but I just can't stand these people. The people in this town, but I guess that's what you get with thrillers, whether it's historical or whether it's an older book, you're gonna hate a lot of the characters. But, although I did kind of like the cousin. He was actually kind of cool. But, so that's what I'm doing with that. And then I am also reading. Okay, so I was watching Sam from Thoughts on Tomes' video vlog on The Goldfinch, and she has said that it's a very depressing book. There's like glimmers of happiness, maybe, and for like a second I was thinking, maybe I should DNF that book and just get rid of it. I mean, it's beautifully written, but it's kind of, it's one, like on the one hand, I have nothing against books that are sad and slightly depressing at times, but it's, hard to read books where it's depressing throughout the whole book, and where you don't know if it's ever going to be happy for these characters. In this particular situation that our main character Theo is going through, the loss of his mother, especially with the way he died, I think a lot of people who are probably close to their parents, probably that's always been their fear of, what if something happens to my parents. And for me, I have a very close relationship with mine, and I've lived with my parents for a long time. I've always lived with them since I was little. Because right now I just can't live on my own. And that is one of my fears, is living, what something happens to my parents before I'm ready to go out. Now, granted, unfortunately, the problem with Theo is he's 13 years old. He's still pretty young, and I'm 30. So I'm still a grown woman. So I'm an adult. So I'm capable. I'm more capable than Theo isn't. I'm not as I feel like I'm probably not as vulnerable as he is. But yes, that book is very heartbreaking. It's still beautifully written. It's still engaging. Right now I'm still interested in it. And I also progressed on Rose Matter as well. And sorry, the tiredness is hitting me again, so I don't feel like getting up and grabbing the book. But Rose Matter is getting really interesting. Oh my god! And this is another book where I hate. Although in this case it's only one character, and that is our character Rose's her husband that she ran away from her. That guy, I just want to cut off his man parts. I hate the guy. I just cannot stand Norman Daniels, which you're not supposed to like him because he's an abuser, and because he thinks that I'm a man, I'm a cop, and he's the whole caveman mentality with women. Like, I own Rose. We're legally married, so I own you. I can do whatever I want. How dare you steal my bank card and leave me, kind of. And in fact, Rose reminds me of Beverly Marsh in It, where Beverly was a young, when she's a kid, has a father who's abusive, and I think he sexually abuses her. And then, the whole thing about the town of Derry being cursed, and that even if you do leave the town, you'll still have, you won't grow as a person. You'll still be the person you were in Derry. And she basically repeats that cycle again and marries a man who is just like her father. And I feel like the guy that Beverly marries, whose name I can't remember at the moment, reminds me of Norman Daniels, where he thinks I'm a man, and guys like that think that it makes them a man because they can control a woman. A woman is weak, and I almost want to say to that guy, "Oh, so you can control someone who is weaker than you? You think someone that you think is weaker than you? Well, how about you try controlling someone that's as strong as you? Try controlling another man, And it's like, try hurting another man, see if you can handle that. I mean, it doesn't make them a man but the problem is men like that do not listen. Their brains are messed up somewhere. In fact, I have a friend who was married to a man like that. I was very controlling, and one of those people that makes religion look bad and look kind of scary, essentially. And she eventually left him, and they've been going back and forth in the courts for a long time because they have kids together. So there's been a lot of custody battles. And he still tries to control her. And even tries to control his kids. And he's such a hypocrite. But it reminds me of this guy. Oh, Tom Rogan was the guy that Beverly married in It. Tom's his name. But I mean, he reminds me of Tom Rogan and Norman Daniels from those Stephen King books. Which is interesting because I think, I don't like Stephen King. I mean, I don't know him that well personally, so hopefully he's not like those guys. But it's interesting, he writes a lot about this guy, so I don't know if he just knows from experience, not his own personal experience, but from what he's seen. Maybe he knows people like that. Maybe he's been around people like that. I don't know, but he writes them really well. People that male characters you just hate. And then, let's see. So, but And our main characters finally come across the painting. Finally, that's the thing about Stephen King is he does take a long time introducing his characters and introducing the situation that they're in, and it takes a long time before it finally gets to the supernatural or the scary aspect. So she's finally come across the painting. She's finally bought it. Like, here's how she came across, which makes me hate Norman Daniels even more. Although I don't know if I could hate him, how much more I could hate this guy, but like, so she decides to take her ring to the pawn shop, and was giving the impression back then that the ring was worth a lot, that she's worth a lot. That's why he bought it for her, because she's worth. This ring is to show how much her worth is to him. So she assumes it's a diamond ring, and so eventually she takes it to the pawn shop to see how much it's worth, seeing how much money she can get off it, because of course she's run away from this guy. And she gets there, and the guy at the pawn shop is kind of like, "Are you kidding me? Really? You want to see how much this is worth?" And so she says, "Yes, I'm serious. I want to know." And he looks at it and he's like, "This is zirconia. This is not a diamond. It's nothing. It's worthless." So she basically realizes that he gave her a fake diamond. It's like basically saying that she was worth nothing to him. She was only worth a fake. And it's like, are you kidding me? This woman is worth more, worth 100 of you. And it's just, you just want to punch him in the face and cut off his balls. I just can't stand, I just hate this guy, and I don't think I could hate him anymore. But the one thing, good thing that came out of it is that she comes across the painting. Of course, it's, we know that obviously it's not going to go so well. I mean, I don't know how exactly it's going to turn out, but we know things are not going to go well for her eventually. But it gives her hope, and it reminds her about how, she's going to get her own place. She's actually in a good place and slowly moving on and escaping the life she had before, and is on the verge of being able to take care of herself and live in her own place. And that she's talking about how she's going to hang up the painting in her own place eventually. So that's all I've read from that one. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to focus more on this one, because as you can see, I'm so close to being done, and especially since with the whole, I only get 15-minute breaks at work, so I don't get a lot of time to read. But the good news is I'm off on Monday, so I'll go work tomorrow, and I don't go in until 2 tomorrow, so I have several hours. Although I think my mom would want me to spend some of those hours going for my run. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so my other library books I still have to, where are they? Oh, crap. Okay, I know. Crap. I know I have more library books than that. I hope I didn't leave them. I don't know, but I'll have to look for those. But they gotta be around here somewhere. That's not good. I really hope I didn't leave them at the store. But wait, I know where they are. I think I know where they are. Wait, no. Oh, thank God. That's right. Sorry. Almost done, guys. These are the other library books. For a second, I was freaking out and thought I left them at the store. But these are the other library books. I still gotta read Practical Magic. These ones, The Buccaneers, and then George R. R. Martin's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. So those are my other library books. So I know I have more library books than the ones I just showed you. So I gotta read. So basically, I have these three: Gulliver's Travels, the Tolstoy collection, and then The Witches of the Winterwood. Those are the ones that I need to read now. I don't know which one I'm gonna read. I think I need to read one of these although I don't know. I just at least start one of these. I mean, I guess I kind of did with Gulliver's Travels, so I gotta read a little bit of those. And then what I ended up doing is I ended up getting this. I only got one book this time. I almost bought 2 Joseph Conrad books, but this is Joseph Conrad. So this is Under the Western Eyes, and it's a Russian set story. Well, this is actually a student gets caught up pre-revolutionary Russia. But I got this because it kind of reminded me of Crime and Punishment, because the main character of Crime and Punishment is a student as well. So, yeah, I saw, like I said, I almost got another Joseph Conrad, but which is, I can't remember which one it's called. But the premise didn't seem as interesting. But apparently a lot of people really cleaned out the classics section. But, this is my first, the Modern Library with the brown spines. This is my first of those ones, I think. So, I got that one. I don't know if I showed you the other classic I got. There's the Tom Jones one. I don't know if I showed you guys this one. Tom Jones. Actually, yeah, I think I did. There was one more classic that I got. I can't remember what it was. Well, maybe not. I'll be right there! So, anyway, that is what's going on with my reading, you guys. So, if you guys like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you have not already, and I hope you are enjoying your reading. And I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!